Hi, this is David Pearson, principal of the Ellington Middle School. This video is an overview of our brand new standards-based report card. Over the last 3 years, Ellington Middle School has worked hard in preparation for this moment. And so what I'd like to do in this video is to kind of give you an overview, provide you with some insights about some of the features of this report card, plus maybe even provide some online features or supplements that will help you kind of understand the insides of this whole report card. So let's begin by looking at the front cover. You can see here that the front cover is really a pretty standard looking front cover, right? You can see here that there are attendance information, homeroom information, contact information should you ever have any questions about this. You can see there's our telephone number. Pretty standard. The one unique thing, and let me see if I can zoom in there a little bit. There we go. Is that for the first time, our report card actually lists the purpose of the report card. And if you don't mind, let me just read it for a second. The purpose of this report card is to communicate with parents and students about achievement of specific learning standards. It identifies students' level of progress with regard to those standards, areas of strength, and areas where additional time and/or effort are needed. Let's break that down for a second. You see that first sentence talks about the idea of to communicate with parents and students. Now that's a little bit different than maybe what you've been accustomed to in the elementary school, because for the most part, most people believe that an elementary report card, the audience is primarily parents. And at the high school level, many people believe that the primary audience at the high school level, by the time they get to that age, are students. However, you can see at this middle school one, it's a combination of those two. We believe that this report card's audience is not only parents, but students as well. It's a very unique feature, I think, that happens here at the middle school. And it's kind of given us a lens about everything we've done about this report card. The second thing in that, the second half of that first sentence uses the term specific learning standards. And for the first time, when we start looking a little deeper into the report card, you'll see besides the idea of getting a holistic grade, A, B, C, D, you'll also see that there's more specific information about learning standards. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as we turn the cover. Finally, you see that it's meant to identify areas of strength and areas where kids could spend some more time and effort. And I think that's an important piece. And if you've been part of the school for a while, you know that Ellington Middle School spent a lot of time on the concept of mastery learning, where we provided kids multiple times to redo and retake the work they're doing. And that's key for any kind of standards-based report card, is the idea of allowing additional time and or effort so that if kids may not get it the first time, they may get it the second time, they may get it the third time, but it's a core belief here at Ellington Middle School that we give our kids multiple opportunities to kind of learn and grow to these high standards that are going to be identified in the report card. So enough about the cover. Let's see if we can see what it looks like inside the report card and get a sense of what's actually under the cover. Okay, here we are now under the cover of the report card, and now you can see a full view of the inside of the report card. First, let me say that I think that we've done a nice job of highlighting and grouping each content area. You can see here that by language arts, mathematics, social studies, science, all the areas are nicely kind of laid out, chunked out so that you can see them very easily. Second, let me just highlight some of the things that you've been accustomed to that are still in this report card, and that would include an alpha grade. Every student will continue to get an A, B, C, D, or F in each of the courses they're taking. In addition, you can see that there are also comments that you've been accustomed to. So, for example, in this particular example, it says good test scores and or quiz scores, class participation encouraged. Those kind of comments that you've been accustomed to that give kids some feedback about what teachers want them to continue to do or new things that they want them to do. But let's focus now on more of what the new features are. Let's zero in here a little bit. Let me see if I can get that nice and close for you. There we go. So for example, you see here, right now I've zoomed in on mathematics. There are 4 standards that are used in all mathematics courses. The first one, for example, is explain and write mathematically with precision. Now, you're probably wondering, where are these standards coming from? And quite frankly, we've spent a long time, a number of, I told you, it's been 3 years in the making, and we've taken these standards from national standards, state standards, and the new Common Core. That's where they're from, and our teachers are prioritized the most important and the most rigorous standards that we want our kids to work towards. So that's where they're coming from. Now, another piece that I'd like to share with you, remember I promised you maybe some online versions, that in mathematics, we also, if we could, we would have provided you with many more details in the report, but there just isn't plain enough room. So I'm going to zoom out here and show you an online resource that we have. And on this resource, you can see that for that explains and writes mathematically with precision a much more detailed version of what it looks like in the classroom, what mastery is in the first trimester, second trimester, third trimester for both years. It's a very explicit document you can find online at our website at Ellington Middle School, and look for the link that says Standards-Based Report Card Supplement, and you'll see all the versions of not only mathematics, but also science and all our content areas. It's a very rich document that will give both you and your student clear insights about what mastery means in our classes. But enough of that. You can find that online. Let's go back and look further into the report card. There's one more thing I want to highlight, to tell you the truth, on this particular inside of the report card, and that's the standards key in the upper left-hand corner. You can see that there are 3 levels: exceeds, meets, and not yet. Now that's a little bit different than what you're accustomed to. At our elementary schools, there are 4 or sometimes 5 levels. We've gone with 3, and here's the reason why. We did this very purposefully. We don't want you to think of those standard keys as A, B, C, D, or F. And sometimes we believe that if there's 4 or 5 levels, it's easy to translate. We simply want you and your child to look at those 3 levels and say, am I meeting? Am I above by exceeding? Am I there? Not yet. And using that not to translate it into an alpha grade, but simply to say, in this particular case, this student that we're looking at right now needs to get better at producing clear and organized writing appropriate to task. Finally, we are very purposeful about not using the word not yet, because it sends a message to our students that we expect you to get there. It's not below basic, it's not below grade level, it's not yet. We expect, with hard work and effort and continued focus, that with that extra time, you will reach mastery at our school in all our areas. So there's a little description about why we have a 3-tiered system as opposed to 4 or 5. Also, you can see a little bit about our standards. Other than that, the only thing that I want to just highlight for this is that all the courses on this inside of this report card are year-long courses. When I turn the page in a moment, we're going to focus on quarterly courses and our effort scores. Okay, here we are now in the back of the report card, and as promised, there are those quarterly unified arts classrooms. And you can see where they have standards just like every other course. These courses are quarterly mini courses. They're 10-week courses, and while they finish on the quarter, they will show up in the report card when those report cards are printed on the trimester. So I will let you know that you will see those grades. And then finally, you see there's the Pride scores. Ellington Middle School has a very long tradition of giving effort scores. It's a great tradition here that's been here for many, many years. What's new about this? Last year, we tried to define what effort meant, and we came up with our Pride acronym, which is persistence, respectful, independent, disciplined, and enthusiastic. And so this year, what's a little bit different, you may have noticed that last year we had, out of a 5-point scale, we decided to line it up with our other academic standards into a 3-point scale, again, of exceeds, meets, and not yet. And so you'll see that kids will get effort scores of what they'll get. And then ultimately at the bottom, to make student society our honor roll, students should have an average of a 2.5 overall average or higher to make that honor roll status. So there you go. That's the Ellington Middle School new standards-based report card. So that's it for our tour of our new standards-based report card. I hope that's been helpful in helping you get an understanding of some of the new features of our standards-based report card. Remember, online is that supplement which gets you many more details about the report card itself. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to call me at Ellington Middle School.